This is the Dental Up Podcast, your daily source for insights from dentists and leaders in the industry. Brought to you by Keating Dental Lab, a full-service, award-winning dental lab that is here to add value to your dental practice. With high-quality restorations, friendly, reliable service, the best products and prices, come experience the Keating difference. Visit KeatingDentalLab.com for details.
Welcome back to the Dental Up Podcast. I'm Bob Brandon, your host and general manager here at Keating Dental Lab. Monday, April 18th, you know what that means. The last day to file your taxes with the IRS. So get on it, people. The government needs your money. It's also my beautiful wife's birthday. Happy birthday, dear. We've been married 22 years and we'll celebrate tonight at Solani's Steak Tavern, former NHL great Teemu Salami Steakhouse down in Laguna Beach. And congrats to my son, Griff. His team won 2 more games this weekend, competing in the MLS Next League, and are firmly in second place at 23 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties, just a half game behind LAFC. So come on, boys, finish up strong. And congrats to my wonderful daughter, Rory, who really enjoys making fun of me for being a podcast host, but who is doing great at her job and working hard. Keep it up, dear. Okay, so today you'll hear the second half of the conversation with Doctors Marco Bongarzone Sr. and Jr., as we wrap up their comparison on dental education and career goals. This father and son dental duo will be followed soon by a father and daughter team, a mother and daughter team, and hopefully a husband and wife team. So stay tuned for future episodes of the Dental Up Podcast to hear their stories. Now let's get back to it with Doctors Bongarzone. So let's talk a little bit about technology. And I know, Marco Jr., you'll have a definite head start on this one, so I'll let you go first. What types of technology, whether it be restorative or, cone beam and planning and everything like that, what sorts of technology were available at Temple University?
So Temple made a push to transition into a mostly digital layout. I'd say probably 2 or 3 years ago, and now it's kind of getting to the end of it. So everything is mostly digital now, and I've had a lot of experience now, and I'm glad to say with anything from scanners to CBCT. I mean, we use digital sensors. Yeah, there's a lot of digital outlets at the school for us to kind of take advantage of, and I've been really pushing to use scanners more and more just because I'm tired of mixing up alginate and all this other stuff. So every time there's a scanner, it's in hot demand. All the students are lined up trying to use it. And Temple's been doing a really good job adding in a lot more, especially after COVID, actually. It's been pretty recent that, I'd say within the last year that people are using scanners more and more, definitely using less conventional methods for impressions and everything. It's been pretty good.
No, that's great to hear. I mean, because it is fast becoming the gold standard. I know, Marco Sr., you guys have the iTero in your office, and you've done some restorations with that. Tell us what types of technology was available at UMDNJ. Did I say that right? I probably got it wrong.
UMDNJ. Just say Rutgers Dental.
Rutgers Dental. Yeah. Okay. That's a lot easier for me. Thank you.
I mean, we didn't have much. We didn't have much. It was, old school x-rays, Hanorex. That's it. There wasn't much. At the time, the great push was TMD disorders, and that was it. That was the up and coming thing to do. But otherwise, the technology, everything was pretty much not what they have today.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Definitely. So Marco Jr., what types of scanners were available, like the brand names or manufacturers were available to you at Temple?
See, now I try to look into it because it's been changing so quickly. And I think I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it was a 3M scanner that we started out with, maybe. Okay. I can't remember which one. I wasn't a huge fan of the original ones we had. We only had like 2 of them. And they were really slow. They were really bulky. I mean, scanners are bulky as it is, but these were, massive units. And now they've been getting more. Man, I wish I had the names of them. But yeah,
that's okay. But it's gotten
the one
better.
Unit. Yeah, it's definitely gotten better. And they're quicker. And the ones we started out with were so finicky. You'd go over a tooth like several times, deleting stuff and rescanning, and it would take a long time to get it right. These new ones now, you just scan them and it'll fill in everything you miss. And, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it still comes out really good.
Yeah, he came into the office to work for us. We needed some help assisting, and he jumped right in. He's like, "What are these?" And he's like, "Oh my God, let me
the iTeros, yeah."
And he took a couple scans for us that day.
Yeah, no, I saw the iTeros. I'm like, you got to start using these for everything. They do all the work.
They do, and we get the case a lot quicker. You guys, see a patient on Monday in New Jersey in Tinton Falls, and by the time you take the impression and your assistant packs it up and puts it in a box and then puts a shipping label on it, we don't get it until Wednesday a lot of times.
Yep.
So,
yep.
If you do it with the iTero, we literally get it it's about 3 to 5 minutes is the download time, which is virtually instantaneous. So
yeah, that was one of the greatest things. When I remember last year, it was right before Christmas. Actually, the school was going to go on break, and I had a patient come in for an implant on number 8, and I was like, I don't know how quickly we can get this done, but we'll scan it and see what we could do. Scanned it, and it was back within 5 days.
Oh,
usually,
wow.
Yeah. Usually with the conventional impressions at school, it takes 2 to 3 weeks sometimes. So
yeah, there's a lot more steps involved. You've got the step of making the model, trimming the die, articulating the casts.
Yep.
That takes time, and we can do that now all on a computer screen with the way these STL files, in particular with iTero, with the way they package the files together and send it to us. We download it from a portal, and it's literally we're able to begin the case immediately.
Yeah. And that's something that you guys, I'm sure, have a lot of experience with the milling too. But I know Temple has been trying to get some units to do same day crowns.
Oh, cool.
At least for temporaries with the milling machines.
Yeah, we're this business, Keating Dental Lab. Without our CAD CAM and without our mills and wax printers, we would need probably 30 to 40 more employees to do that job, to do those jobs by hand. So,
yeah,
the CAD CAM of the technology really, really helps us become a more efficient operation here. So, okay, so we talked about technology. Marco Sr., going back a ways, what was your first job like out of dental school? And then we're going to kind of transition over to Marco Jr. What's going to be your plan after graduation?
So I did a residency at Overlook Hospital in Summit, New Jersey for a year. It was a great experience as far as what I was allowed to do. But as the program was starting to almost be defunded a little bit, we were limited as to what we can do. So I didn't really think I got the experience that I should have gotten out of it. But as far as oral surgery and things like that, it was great. We were allowed to take patients to the OR, do wisdom teeth. It was great. But after that, I ended up, one of the professors at the residency picked me up, and I was working for him for about a year. And then I couldn't commute anymore. It was over an hour and a half commute, and I just couldn't do it. And I ended up, one of the girls who worked with my partner now, Dr. Rista, she was an assistant and a good friend of mine, and she introduced me to Dr. Rista. And ever since then, I started working for him and then became partners with him. And we've been fine ever since. So it's been good. Cool. So
that's a great journey. Now, Marco Jr., yeah. What's your plan to start your dental career?
So I currently living in South Jersey, have been looking for some associate jobs down here to start out. I think probably work for a couple years as an associate, and then, looking to either buying a practice or maybe starting one up from scratch.
Awesome.
Yeah, I actually feel like I'm the luckiest dude ever. My fiancée is also a dentist. She graduated from Temple Dental 2019. We live together in Cherry Hill, and she's been working around here as an associate for about a year and a half now. She did a residency out of dental school. So after that, she's now been an associate at a couple different practices, and hoping to kind of follow suit, and then maybe we can open up something together.
Oh, cool. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. What's the percentage of your classmates that go to like a DSO type organization and work for a big company?
I don't know the exact percentage, but from talking to my classmates and, talking to people about applying, it actually seems like a lot of my classmates are trying to do residencies. And, I think it's a great experience to kind of hone your hand skills, hand coordination, get quicker at procedures. I feel pretty confident and comfortable kind of where I'm at, and feel like I could keep up in private. But I know a lot of people are starting to, go into residencies or specialize, and I don't really know of too many people who are doing DSOs or looking to join DSOs.
Interesting. That's good. I mean, further your education in a residency program and get exposed to everything. That's a really nice idea.
Yeah. And I definitely considered doing it at one point myself, but I already took an extra year before dental school, and going to be getting married this year, and I am kind of tired of doing the whole school thing.
I get it. Yeah, absolutely. Time to start making some money.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, you listen to that, and I know these young kids have to understand too, when you're coming out, you have this debt. And when you have this debt, you have to determine what your next move is. I know for me, I had this amount of debt on my hands, and I had to make a decision. Do you buy a house, or do you buy a practice or buy into a practice? These are the tough decisions, but you have to really say to yourself, if you buy into a practice because you have all this debt, if you go buy a house, now you have even more debt. And if these kids are buying a $400,000 home, which around here you're not going to find it, you're in debt for over $800,000. And you still haven't bought a practice or bought into a practice. So if there's any advice, I would say I was told you buy the practice or buy into the practice so that is going to now feed you. Then you can ultimately buy that house down the road and settle down. But until then, if you have to invest into something, the house eventually will come. But that practice, that income is going to ultimately allow you to buy what you want to buy. But until then, it's try as hard as you can to buy in or purchase your own. It's a tough call now because these kids have so much debt. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they can't be like the federal government and just raise the debt ceiling. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned it too, my fiance, also going to Temple and being out of state, also has about $400,000 in debt. So the two of us, once we get married, you're looking at close to $900,000 in debt.
Holy moly! Oh my gosh!
That's a scary number.
Wow. We'll give you free lab work for life. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
And I did tell him, and I did warn him. I said, listen, he graduated from Villanova. And, I told him, how many people you could go to Wall Street and be fine, but he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I had to choose this one.
You could, go the MBA or Wall Street route. Then you buy dental offices or buy dental labs. I mean, there's a big conglomerate on Wall Street that created their own dental lab, and it's kind of, anyway, that's another story. We'll talk about that later off air for sure.
Yeah.
Man. So one of the things that we as lab technicians always, we kind of go back to, and I know Marco Sr., you had a fair amount of lab procedures you had to do in school. Marco Jr., did you guys have to do much lab work, or was it mainly sent out to an offsite location?
So I don't know. First thing I think about is dentures.
Okay.
For the most part, we could send dentures out to have teeth set. I personally didn't like it just because the lab that the school uses is very inconsistent. And, when you're sending something out in wax, I mean, there's always a chance that something melts or, something gets displaced. So I personally set all of my dentures, all the teeth on my dentures. So I did most of that work. When it came to fixed, crowns, bridges, that, on the other hand, I sent most of that to the lab. There's not a whole lot that we were expected to do. You just get that final impression. We didn't even need to pour it up. And then, send it out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's real world dentistry. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I think that if the school gave you an option and maybe had, the number one thing we get with new dentists is they prep undercuts, where the cutting tip of the burr is angled back into the long axis. So, the axial walls aren't reduced enough so that, especially when we scan it, you can see it very easy on a die and on a computer screen that's scanned. But yeah, just understanding prep design and preparation shape. I know you've got your father for that one. He can,
Yeah.
he's done several, close to 100,000, I'm sure by now. But young dentists, we do tend to prep, quite a few undercuts, but that's the biggest thing. And if you do your own lab work and you create a wax pattern and, you dip the die in wax and then you go to build up the restoration in wax and trim your margins, and then you go take it off the die, like everything just crumbles on you. Or, if you're doing an all ceramic restoration, it just is super tight and it doesn't fit all the way going down. And those are things that if you do your own lab steps, you learn instantaneously.
Yeah, that would probably actually be a good experience, at least to do once. I know, actually a couple of years ago when my fiance was still in school, they had to, oh man, I don't even know the phrasing for it. She had to, I guess, what is it, burn, or when you add the porcelain on metal.
Oh, okay. So you have the metal coping and then you degas it and apply an opaque layer. And then you start building up your porcelain layers. Usually start with some, opacious dentin, and then a dentin or body build up, and then incisal. Yeah.
So they would glaze the porcelain they would basically do that step. And I guess a couple kids kept burning themselves. So they stopped doing that. So, yeah. And I know you had to cast your own all metal units.
Any gold, we had a process. We start to finish, prep, wax up, ditch the whole process, invest it, melt it, penny weights, you name it, the whole 9 yards, the whole process, so we had to do it all.
That's cool. That's very cool. And you learned, prep design and proper, resistance and retentive form, because how many times over the past 15 years have I had to call you, Marco, I can't do this. I got an undercut on this prep.
Yep.
It's zero, right? 0 times.
Yeah. Well, you'll see, like a young dentist they also under prep.
Yeah.
Because in your head, it's number one thing. You don't want to pulp out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what's in their head, because that's their boards. The boards is, I don't want to pulp out. I don't want to pulp out. But now, you're in practice, and, it's you got to find yourself the room. But again, because you could prep the tooth, you waxed it up, you invested it, processed it, did everything, you go deliver it, and it doesn't fit. And now you got to redo that whole thing again. And you try and find out what went wrong. And I think you learn from your mistakes. Sometimes it's okay to make a mistake, but you learn from it. And if you don't learn from your mistake, then what's the point? So.
I wish I was like that. Marco Jr., going back to your classmates getting burned. I have no feeling in my fingertips. I have no nerve endings because I've taken so many things out of a hot oven over the years. So I'm either way too stubborn or always in a hurry, or man, I just don't learn. Well, gentlemen, I really want to thank you for your time. This was a very informative and interesting program to compare and contrast, dental education, over a 30-year span, really. And I just thank you for coming on today. Marco Jr., I wish you the best of luck. This is a very exciting career, very exciting field. The technological advances are happening at lightning speed now. And, with scanners and milling units and wax printers now, and all of the vendors that you walk around at these conventions in, someday. Maybe we can meet at the Greater New York next fall. But yeah, all their materials are really catching up and taking this field to a whole new level. And I'm very excited. I'm more excited than I've ever been about this field.
Yeah, it definitely seems like things are moving really quick. I mean, last couple of years of dental school, it changed drastically. So I'm excited to see where it goes as well.
Yeah, and if you ever get the chance, there's an unbelievable meeting. It's in Cologne, Germany. It's every other year, and it's called the IDS, the International Dental Symposium. And maybe a couple of years here, go to some American events. But yeah, if you really want to see what the rest of the world is doing, boy, that's an unbelievable experience.
Well, I got a buddy who lives right outside of Cologne. That'd be great. Go visit him, and then learn some stuff too.
Yep. It's a fantastic city. There's beer halls on every corner, and again, that's been one of my best experiences in this dental field as well.
We'll definitely have to look into that.
Well, guys, before we sign off, is there anything you'd like to add, or anything that you felt we didn't cover?
No, we're all good. I wish the best of luck to all these young dentists. It's not as bad as it may seem. It's all positive. You're in a profession that, whatever you want, you can make it. You want to practice in a busy practice, that's you. You want to practice 3 days a week, that's you. There's so many factors in dentistry that make it such a great profession, so contrary to what some other people may think about us, but I think you're in a great profession.
Oh, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And it is true. I mean, you can make whatever you want out of this profession and out of your career. It really, you're just starting, and your choices are limitless.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
That seems like something that's lost on a lot of dental school kids, because in school, you really lose sight of that. You lose sight of it real quick too. You get in there and it's just, you're in a textbook all the time or on PowerPoint and reading these lectures, listening to lectures, then you getting these requirements done, and you kind of lose sight. Reflecting on now towards the end of my dental school experience, you reflect on why you start, and then kind of you lose it, and now it's like, okay, I remember why I got into this whole thing in the first place. It's not that bad looking back.
Yeah, you're in the details still. You're in like, moving from tree to tree. There is a wonderful, beautiful forest that is this profession, and you're navigating the trees, and I get that. That's the young perspective, and you have to navigate all these different requirements. But I'm so happy to hear you pass the boards. I'm excited for your graduation. We're gonna send you something cool out here from California, and I wish you and your fiancée all the best for your future, all the best for your personal life. And again, you've got a wonderful mentor. I speak with your father literally every day, Monday through Friday, and
more about that.
Right?
We won't get into that.
That's our forest. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be in touch shortly, very soon. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good one.
Okay,
All right.
take care.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dental Up Podcast, your daily source for insights from dentists and leaders in the industry. This episode is sponsored by Keating Dental Lab, here to add value to your dental practice. With high-quality restorations, friendly, reliable service, the best products and prices, come experience the Keating difference. Visit KeatingDentalLab.com for details.